Hello and welcome. In this particular tutorial, I'm going to show you how I managed to create the necessary elements that we're going to need to animate the most infamous, or not most infamous, but one of the most infamous One Piece clashes. I remember about 10 years ago or something, I watched this and it was really incredible. I actually watched it on repeat multiple times and never had I imagined that one day I would have the honor of actually animating this kind of stuff, and I do right now. So basically, what we're trying to animate is the infamous clash between Shanks and Whitebeard. So this is how it starts off by basically Whitebeard is frowning because Shanks is kind of trying to give him some advice, and Whitebeard is on his ego because he's just like, I was the rival of Goldie Roger, who was your captain. Did you forget, you insolent little kid? I remember when you was a kid, and he just didn't really accept Shanks's advice, though if he had, he would have not had to go and fight the entire Marine army, including the three Marine admirals, Sengoku and the Garp, and some crazy powerhouses. But he just didn't want to take Shanks's advice because somehow he thought of him as a little kid, and he just threw the same sake bottle or sake clay bottle that Shanks brought him, which basically ended up angering Shanks. So whether people like that or not, but Shanks kind of got angry, and you can tell because he just went silent, right? He just didn't want to talk anymore because there's nobody to talk to. And he just started drinking, and Whitebeard was looking kind of like, it's going to go down, obviously. And he's an old man, so he knows Shanks is, well, let's face it, Shanks is younger, even though he has one arm, but he's younger. His hockey is stronger. He was obviously on the Pirate King's ship. He obviously knows how Whitebeard fights. He knows Whitebeard is an old man. And obviously, he can be a threat. I would say Shanks would beat Whitebeard on a one-on-one combat. But here, he drew his sword. Whitebeard also drew his Bicento weapon, and he's ready to clash. And then finally, the clash. I try to do my best to ensure that the clash really looks the part. And then here, the culmination of the clash, an explosion, and then here, another moment, the clash. And the sky was divided. These are the Shanks pirates. Again, tried my best to do a great job when it comes to both Shanks pirates and the Whitebeard pirates. And I mean, it's not really bad. It turned out okay. And then the skies split, and that's that. I managed to turn these into real looking videos using the techniques which I have taught in a previous live session, or in a previous session here in this course, in a previous tutorial, I would say. I keep saying live sessions because I usually record this on live, but then I remove it, and usually I edit this out into chapters or course chapters or modules. So this is the infamous scene as it is in the anime format. So what I did is, to put it simply, I took every single video frame. How I did this was, up to it's pretty easy. You just go to the video, you take a screenshot. You take a screenshot of every single frame. Usually manga or anime is done like this. It's done in frames. So you can clearly see, now this is the initial frame. Whitebeard was talking. You've already seen the real version of that. This is Whitebeard on the ship. Shanks is obviously smaller there, standing there, is also trying to, he's listening and talking to Whitebeard. Now, this one is not good. This one here, Shanks is sitting. This is the moment where Whitebeard is going to throw that big bottle. Shanks is obviously angry. He's going to start drinking from that big plate. Obviously, when you see Shanks holding that with one arm, it's quite big as a plate. Nobody can do this besides people like Shanks. I'd say this maybe is about maybe 200 kgs, and he's holding it like nothing. And then here, I don't know, maybe it's less, but it's a big weight for a plate. But then again, these guys have massive power. And then here you can see Shanks is about to draw his sword, and he draws his sword, and Whitebeard also draws his Bacento, and this is the iconic moment where they're about to clash to the point where they kind of distorted the air with their, people don't pay attention to these things, and they might think, oh, Shanks and Whitebeard's clash was not really powerful. But I mean, when you look at this is the moment they clashed. It kind of pretty much distorted the environment. It's kind of like gravity changed here. And that shows how powerful these two guys are. Now, here, of course, their ships are standing or docking next to one another. And then we have the sky is going to split because of the clash. Obviously, the Shanks pirates are looking. They know that their captain is not in trouble because obviously Whitebeard is an older man. He's not the same Whitebeard that he was as a younger Whitebeard, but still, he's very dangerous and powerful. And these are the Whitebeard pirates. Also, kind of, you can see the difference in reactions here. Now, I'm not trying to make this as, let's say, as a reaction to the what happened, because I'm not a One Piece reaction, educator. All right, but you can tell what the One Piece creators of the Toei Animation Studio or Oda intended for this. You can see that the red-haired pirates don't really care. They don't think their captain is in danger at all. And you can see by their demeanors. You can even see that Lucky Roo is actually enjoying a rack of lamb. He's pretty much eating and he's enjoying himself. Yasop is hands crossed, not even caring. By the way, pay attention to that Yaso tattoo that he has on his hand or on his arm, close to the shoulder. You can see Ben Beckerman is the only one who's a bit cautious since he has his rifle on the ready. Not entirely on the ready, but he has it on his shoulder because he's the smarter one of all of them. So the vice captain, always vigilant. So he knows, if it comes down to it, he has his weapon on the ready. And then here we have the Whitebeard pirates are kind of very alarmed because they know that Shanks is really, really powerful. They know. And so therefore you can see that they're kind of bothered by what's happening. And the sky split, and that's that. So this is the scene. Now let me show you the videos that I have managed to create. Again, in case you want to learn more about how I managed to do these videos, then you just go back to the previous module. All right, that's as simple as that. Go back to the previous module, and previous modules specifically, where we pretty much animated some other very famous scenes. Like in this case, we animated the scene between Luffy and Loki. We animated Luffy punching Loki, right, and knocking him down, obviously, to stop him. So go back to that. I teach all the tools from Grok to Leonardo. Basically, I only use Leonardo because I can get access to Kling AI, and I use the Kling O1 model for animations. I have taught you about the start and an ending frame and what magic you can do with it. And of course, here as well, I have used those strategies that I have taught you. For instance, the clash between Whitebeard and Shanks, I have used that same strategy. All right. Starting frame is this, ending frame is this. Okay. For the moment where he draws his sword, or where Shanks draws his sword, I have used that strategy. Okay, so this is before and after. And of course, you have multiple ways on how you can turn images to real life. Let me show you one very particular one. If you haven't paid attention to the previous one or the previous videos, this is the moment where Shanks is about to clash with Whitebeard. All right. So if you go to this tool, which is called Google Gemini, now first, I'd like to take one of the prompts that I have used before. All right, not this one. I have, I think, maybe this. The moment of the clash. I don't think I animated this here, but I'm trying to show you. All right, so my prompts were not really that complex, as a matter of fact. And I have, as I said, I've used this tool here to particularly generate realistic looking footage. But here, I'm going to start a new chat and I'm going to start from scratch. So I'm going to click on create an image. I'm only going to do this for these two images because I can't do this for 28 frames. That will take 3 hours. Now I'm going to click on create here and make sure that I have the image option, which is basically Nano Banana. I want to get to use Nano Banana. And so when you paste an image here, you can just type anything. You can type anything to edit that image. So Nano Banana can generate images, but at the same time, it can remix images. Remixing is when you upload a particular image and then you describe particularly the changes you want to do or you want to apply to the image. In this case, I simply want it to be a real life. So I'm going to say use the image attached to create a live action, realistic 8K quality image of the clash between Yonko, Shanks, and Whitebeard. And I could add the fact that Shanks is one-armed. So Shanks is one-armed, only has one arm. This clash takes place on Whitebeard's ship. Whitebeard's ship. Now, I could also say that the weather is kind of cloudy. It kind of looks like there is a storm that's going to happen. But this tool is also blessed with vision. It was not always the case. ChatGPT was the first because they used DALL-E 3, and DALL-E 3 was the first to particularly have this capability of understanding pretty much every image. They analyze images and they know what images are about. But now it seems that Google Gemini has also gotten this thing or this particular, I would say, feature. Now, right here, you can see, now this is a cool image. I would say it's even cooler than the image that I created. So I think I'm going to take this one. I was going to put it here just in case. I think I'm going to need it. And then now that you have this one, if you want to generate the follow-up, I could copy the follow-up image. I could paste it right here. And then I could say something simple as, now they have clashed. Using the image or the design, the anime image attached, create the live action image of their clash. Keep things consistent. You can say keep things consistent or keep the scene consistent in a way. That's also something you could say that's interesting. That's precise, I would say. With these tools, you have to be precise because you can get, you can pretty much get lazy at times and think that these tools are supposed to understand what's going in your brain. I privy to that mistake as well. I'm not going to say that I'm an expert at 100% of the times, but I make mistakes when it comes to these tools as well. But here, I want you to notice how incredible this is. So the clash kind of created this whole blast, and there we go. I think that that is cool that they did it like this. And so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try this thing out. I don't know if it's gonna work. Let me see if first of all, if I have some credits left in labs.google in Flow. Feel free to ask any question in the Q&A, by the way, if you have any question regarding this and how to do a certain thing, because I think that it's not really easy. Now, let me start a new project right about here. All right. Okay, so let me just check if I have some credits. Actually, I don't really have any. Well, I don't have any left here, but let's try 11 labs. I mean, I have a lot of credits on 11 labs, but the problem is that I don't seem to be able to generate the videos that I want. For the most part, they're kind of against most of the generations that I try to generate. Now, let me try. Now, the problem with Sora is that you don't have the option to use a start and an ending frame. Let's try. Let's see if Cdance has the option. Yes, Cdance seems to have the option. To be honest, I only want about 4 seconds is a lot. Let's see. Let's say 3 seconds. But I'm not sure if Cdance is going to do this. But in any case, now let me just download this image. I'm going to call it Shanks versus Whitebeard 1. And then the other one, I'm going to call it Shanks versus Whitebeard 2. With 11 labs, it seems like every image you want to generate or every video you want to generate, they seem to kind of have an issue with it. They seem to kind of think it's against their policies or something. So I don't know which prompt I should really use. As opposed to it with labs.google, my credits are gone now. And I'm going to have to wait until my subscription renews. I think it's going to renew in somewhere in the next couple of days. But let's try to generate without a prompt. It seems, no, actually, I need a prompt. Okay, I'm just going to say epic. I'm not going to say anything else. And I'm going to hit the generate. This is kind of weird with 11 labs. It's so complex to generate very simple animations. Look at how many times they said that the generation might violate the policy when I'm not really asking for anything too special. They managed to do 2 animations for me. Now this one is I ended up not picking it because you can see that the sword is magically coming. That's not what I wanted. You know, you're gonna get grilled for these types of animations. Don't do it. It's not because I care what people say, but it's because we have to be professionals, all right? This is not an acceptable animation from a professional perspective. Now, there are some people that would say, well, people just should be glad that I'm doing what I'm doing and I don't really care what they say. But, you know, to be honest, that's not a thing to say. Now, here, notice that this also didn't turn out to be good. I would say that the 3-second was not enough, probably. Okay, so we'll try again. No issues. I'll try with a different model. I'll try with something else rather than just Cdance. Cdance disappoints. All right, it was a huge disappointment. I mean, there's a lot of AI entrepreneurs out there claiming that Cdance is the greatest tool, and I'm not sure if WAN doesn't have the start and an ending frame option. Kling does, but Kling kind of. I mean, Kling is good, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do this. It's 5 seconds, so that's a lot. That's a lot for this kind of animation. This is an animation that shouldn't take more than 2 to 3 seconds. Let's try something else. LTX. There's LCX. There's uh, hmm, I would use VO3, but they seem to have a lot of policy things that stop. I'm gonna try Kling 2. But actually, why? I mean, Kling 2.5 should have a start and ending frame. Yes, they do. 2.6 doesn't, which is surprising. 5 seconds. Okay, so I'm gonna say slow motion, epic clash on the ship. Hopefully, they don't give me their usual against our policy type stuff. Now, this, as you can see, this is not what we want because we want Shanks to kind of move a little forward and then Whitebeard to move forward. This from here to here, this part is not good. I'm gonna download the scene because I could find a way to kind of deal with this, but not sure if I'm gonna end up picking it as my only option. Now, 11 Labs, Leonardo AI, OpenArt all give you access to use multiple models to generate videos and images and stuff, but that doesn't mean that all of them have the same policies. 11 Labs have more, as far as my experience is concerned, they have more restrictive policies. All right. And so therefore they don't allow certain things that would fly on Leonardo. Open art, as my experience is concerned, are pretty much um, the ones that are mostly, they don't really care what you generate. So they would pretty much go with everything, or not everything, but for the most part, go with a lot of animations that 11 Labs will reject. But they're a bit too expensive for my taste. Plus, I am more experienced with Leonardo because I've used it 3 years ago. That's when the first time I used it was 3 years ago. And so, therefore, I am far more experienced with Leonardo. And yes, experience with these tools matters. Even if you might actually say, well, these are just AI tools, anybody can use them, but experience matters. Someone that did 20,000 prompts or 30,000 prompts is not the same as someone that did um, 20 prompts on these tools. You can't compare because the experience matters in that case. This is not good. I'm going to try to be more precise here. Kling is good. It seems that Kling kind of got it, but I'm going to try with Kling O1. It's their most advanced. I could use a video as a reference, by the way, as well. Let's first put the start and ending frames. And it seems like I can't put the video reference now. Okay, so I'm gonna say slow motion clash between Picento and Sword. Epic collision. All right, let's try it again. Kling O1. 5 seconds. Now they're not going to give you the option to choose the size, and that's understandable because the size of your video is going to be the size of your images. And my images here, as far as I can see, they're 16 by 9 inches. And so therefore your video is also going to be 16 by 9 inches. Now, if nothing works here, to be honest, I will simply use this one because I think I can just do a job of trimming. So I can keep this part here where Whitebeard kind of moves close to Shanks, and then here I could stop and I would cut this moment here, I would cut it. All right. Yeah, I think I can sort it out. Yeah, because I have a lot of footage, and when you edit movies or you create movies as much as I did, I think you can sort things out. This should not be a big deal. Some kind of weirdness going on here with as you can see with this animation here. It's very weird. You see, they kind of, because I think that they kind of didn't understand that there was a clash there. I don't blame the tool. I might try this on the other hand. I might say it doesn't look like there was a clash. The clash, edit and redo. Let's see. Let's see if maybe the ending frame is not contributing to a better prompt or a better video. This one is also not good. Yep, definitely not. Let me see. All right, I'm going to try it this way. If it doesn't work, then we're just going to have to move on. Now, this is going to be my starting frame. My ending frame should be this. I'll call it new ending frame. I'll just go back to 11 labs to the end frame. That one was really weird. This is not how it's supposed to be. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't think I can generate without a prompt. Let me try to mention the names. Whitebeard and Shanks clash. Slow motion, epic, cinematic scene. Okay, hopefully there is no policy stuff. No policy violations. So far, the Sea Dance one kind of ended up at least giving us a glimpse or some. Yeah, here you can see that this is not okay. All right, you can see this generation failed as soon as I mentioned Whitebeard and Shanks, because these tools are programmed to pretty much reject anything they deem suspicious. So when they hear the Shanks and Whitebeard, they're kind of thinking that I'm trying to create some anime scenes. And this is also good to show because so many people think that they can just go and create anime live action and that it's so easy. Where, I mean, it's not, because if it were easy, then you would see far more channels doing so. And yeah, I could have kept the secret to myself at the beginning when I discovered how to, or the subset of tools that one can use to create live action. anime live action, but I've decided that I'm going to share this with multiple people, and multiple people are now using my same techniques. But to be fair, they are creating impressive live action. I don't mind if people copy what I'm doing, as long as they create something better and something far more improved, and they take my techniques and go ahead and just create something better. What is bad is if somebody copies your entire work and just posts it somewhere else, which I found many people doing. Because on any YouTube channel, on the copyright section, you can see the people that have used your content before. You can see content that is similar to yours, and that's a good thing, because you can know exactly the creator and when they posted your video. YouTube is so good at picking the similarities. Let's check this one out. Not good. Okay, so I think this is just I'm just wasting my time here. So now let me just go ahead and start the project. So I'm gonna start a project, go inside the B-roll folder, and I'm gonna have to start the creation process. All right. Now, in order to do a great job here, I'm gonna start by creating a new project. I don't need to install the new version of CapCut. I can just use it. That scene between Shanks and Whitebeard, I downloaded it anime style because we need that. We're gonna need it. We're gonna need it because we're gonna match the video to the live action. It's one of my techniques as well. So I'm just gonna go into CapCut. Here you have the import button, and there it is, Shanks versus Whitebeard One Piece. So I'm gonna take that One Piece scene and put it here. So right here, what I'm gonna do is first get rid of the last bit, which seems to be nothing more than just yep, this is what I need to extract the audio so that it becomes its own separate file or its own separate asset. And then here, I'm going to right click on the video itself. Now it doesn't have any sound, but I can split the scenes. Now splitting the scenes is pretty much like this here, where I have each and every frame separated. That would help me out kind of pinpoint which scene is which and kind of follow up with the evolution of things as the scene unfolds. It doesn't take that much time, especially for anime. It's just anime. All right, so now I think it should be ready. All right, so I have my scenes. It seems like Whitebeard has talked for far too long. Now I'm going to try to listen to this just a little bit. 仁義を欠いちゃこの人の世は渡っちゃいけねえんだと I'm going to pause it right there, to be honest, because he's going to take 10 seconds. I'm going to cut the first the first part. He's just talking some nonsense there. Obviously Shanks is right here, so just he should have just listened to him, but he's just an old man that doesn't want to listen to anybody. Okay, so right here I'm going to drag. This should be about a 5-second clip, and I could slow it down enough. I could slow it down enough to kind of be where, kind of like this. I don't mind cutting just a little bit over here. And right now, I can just rewatch it. It's pretty good. Now here, Whitebeard is going to drink and then throw the thing. So the moment he throws it, it is here. I have to be careful, so I'm gonna make a cut. I'm gonna cut from here because these are two separate scenes. One is where he's drinking, and one is where he's just disrespecting Shanks. He thinks that Shanks is still a little kid. So where is the one where he's drinking? Pretty sure I animated it. Yeah, there it is. So I had a doubt that I didn't, or that I didn't download it. So here he's just basically drinking. I'm gonna have to slow this down to match the anime scene. Not that much, just a little bit here. I think that's enough. And then here is the moment where he throws that. There it is. I think this is it. I only want to take the first bit of it. I think I took so much. There it is. So I'm going to cut. I'm going to move this here. And then I'm going to click the video and speed it up a bit. Just a little bit. And a bit more. I could just get rid of that. And then here we have Shanks. He's going to dodge. So Shanks should actually dodge. All right. So the moment he dodges, I also have generated a video for that. And I'm going to have to make it bigger or speed it up. I'm going to speed it up, I think, maybe by 2 because he dodges it using his hockey, and so that should be fast. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to speed it up a little more. Looks like a scene from The Matrix. Now, the moment we hear that sound, you should have already dodged it. And here we have the moment where he's just sitting down. I'm going to speed it up as well and cut any excess. There is no excess. But here, let me try to zoom in because I think that this should be kind of right here. I don't want any gaps. Now, when you're editing above the cover on CapCut, you don't have that. You don't have the magnet, so things don't go back. Well, that's not a big deal. Speed, lower just a bit. That's it. That's it. Now here, Shanks is gonna grab that little, not that little, but that big. So I'm gonna watch. All right. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna okay, that's it. And I'm gonna cut, but then here, this should be faster than this. I'm also gonna mute the track here. I'm gonna make sure this is much faster. Let's preview. Well, that's way too fast. Just reduce the speed a bit. All right, he starts drinking at around about this point. So I think I could just lower the speed a bit of that scene. And then I'll take the scene where he's drinking. I'm going to have to put it like so. All right. I think I'm going to do it a bit different. I'm going to cut this, but normally I should put this scene here where he's drinking in close up. I should give it more time, but I'm going to give it less time because, I mean, I'm not going to create a replica. It's not a complete replica. I mean, we're not in the business of replicating everything. Now, I'm gonna speed things up and watch. Should be faster than this because this is in slow motion. So yeah, it should be a bit faster. Let's just watch again. That's it. That's it. Get rid of this. And obviously, I'm gonna have to click my scene here and scale it a bit because they kind of revealed his shoulder. And generally, in this particular scene, Shen really have a his shoulder doesn't. We don't see his shoulder because he's wearing his cape, his pirate captain cape or whatever. I mean, they have these capes that they kind of. I'm the captain, so I must have a cape. And here, whereas Whitebeard is actually looking, he's kind of like thinking, what did I just do? I mean, he's definitely not scared because his crew is backing him up. But to be honest, if it was just him and Shanks alone, I don't think that Whitebeard could have made it out there unscathed. Now here we have the moment where Shanks stands up and throws the plate. I have it, but okay. I think I'm just gonna. All right, all right. You know what? Let's speed it up a bit more and a bit more. Let's see. That's way too much, but let me just reduce the speed just a bit. And I'm gonna cut at this moment. Let's get this back here and then cut. All right, now I have the scene where he's basically has his hands on his sword. And I don't want to show that much. I just want to speed this up. I only want to show the best part because this video has been botched a bit. Yep. Zoom out. I think I can speed that scene a little more. Yep. And then I would go ahead and find the scene where. Now, let me just check this one out. I think that. Should I have used it for some what? I don't know. I didn't use it. I didn't use that scene. Yep, it's okay. I think that it's not necessary to use it. And then here we have the scene where Shanks draws his sword out. Must be this. Yes, that's not the most impressive sword to draw, but I mean, it's live action, so it's not. All right, I think I can cut that bit. And then here we have the Whitebeard medical. I don't know what they call those, but they're used for some measurement. Yep. And I managed to do just that. And then right here we have Whitebeard on the ready. I've also created this scene for that. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? This one. I think it should be enough. As a matter of fact, it's more than enough. I have to even slow it down, speed it up. Then it should. Is this Whitebeard getting up? There you go. If he's just sitting. And this is the moment of the clash. I have to be extremely careful here. But I didn't animate this one. I'm going to cut it, and I'm also going to cut this one. I didn't animate it from the top angle, so I'm going to get rid of this. This is the only one I animated. All right, so let's get back. This is the moment. If I can just use this. Now this is not entirely it's not entirely good. So I'm gonna watch a bit. I'm gonna keep this one. But I'm gonna delete everything before that. Click, cut, and I think I have downloaded, if you remember that scene. I'm gonna watch all the unnecessary stuff. I'm gonna get rid of it. I'm gonna take this scene, stitch it together with the other one as a compound scene or a compound clip, and then I'm gonna have to speed it up. I think it matches, and I'll take this, place it right about here, and it should end at this. Speed a little more. That's it. There's that moment of the friction. Where is it? The friction between the weapon. I think that I'm not going to do that like that. I'm going to try to make it a bit different. So I'm going to instead, except for it's going to be sped up like so. I could get rid of everything else. All right, let me just watch again. All right, I think that it's fair to move on right now. Now this is the moment of the sky clash or sky split. I haven't created the best of sky splits, but I think that this will do. I'm going to have to speed this up, and then I'll use this. And also speed it up. And then we have a moment where the Shanks pirates are kind of congregated. They don't really care because they know that their captain is in the clear. He's not in danger. Unlike Whitebeard. Speed it up maybe by 2 times, but then I'm just gonna get rid of that. I think that this is good. And then we have the Whitebeard pirates. So for the Whitebeard pirates, there are 3 scenes. There's a scene where the guy on the left, on my right actually, this one is talking right now, and they're listening. The next Marco is going to talk, and next this guy is going to talk. So I created 3 different scenes for when each person talks, and I'm going to have to pay attention here because this is going to be a, All right, so now it's Marco's turn. I have to be precise. So here I'm gonna go and speed this up just by a bit and get rid of that. And then here Marco's gonna talk. All right, so he stops talking there. I have to, yeah, there it is. This is, he's opening his mouth. We put this here, speed it up, get rid of that. And then we have the moment where Jozu is talking. And then they all look at the sky because there's a split. I think I'm going to slow this down just a bit. It happened all so fast. And I'm going to get rid of this part. Now, the sky splitting, I have a perfect animation for that. This is the one. I animated this with Grok, yeah. I'm going to speed it up. And then finally, we have the Shanks in the ocean. Let me see if I have a better one. I think I do. This one is it's not what I want. So I'm going to get rid of this. That's it. 1 minute. Now I'm going to click on the turn off auto snapping. I'm also going to turn off the linkage. And I would like to get rid of the anime portions. To take the scene, put it down as the cover. And then I would like to scale all the scenes, to be honest. I think one might get ruined. The one where he was drinking. You're going to have to go back to it. Tell it again. I'm going to take all the scenes and right click to extract any audio that they had, because for the Grok scenes, I pretty much used Grok to generate those scenes, and so therefore they have Grok sound, which should be removed. As far as the music is concerned, I think it's fair to remove it for copyright. I'm gonna have to find a way. So here, separate audio, vocals. Let's check this out, because if I were to use the music that's included in that video, I'm not so sure about the copyright. But then again, I'm quite satisfied with the results. I mean, you always expect these things to be perfect, but nothing is perfect. Let me try to mute this for a second. All right, so I think I'm going to have to add my own sounds here, and I don't mind. So first, let me just select everything and increase the volume. Point, he's going to start drinking. I'm going to import some sound, and then we have the drinking sound. You can find these sounds by going into Google, searching Google drinking water sound effect Pixabay, and then you can download such sounds from Pixabay as well as some other websites. But I honestly recommend Pixabay because it is better for these types of sounds and mostly copyright free. I have to be extra careful here. All right, so he has basically drunk everything. I'm going to increase the sound of the drinking. All right, so the moment he throws that object on Shanks, we lost all sound here. Uh, let's try to look for something like this. I will add C sounds and other sounds as well in next, but object thrown SFX bay object gets thrown. I want that sound when something is thrown. Come on. It's pretty difficult to find such sounds. Yep. I think I'm gonna use the sound from the anime because at the end of the day, for that part, I'm only gonna use a small portion, so that's not gonna be a copyright issue. It only arises when you use a sound for more than 7 seconds. That's when mostly problems congregate. So let me just put this down here, and I'm gonna mute everything else. ティーチのバカに教えてやるのが俺の責任だろうがよ。分かったか、ほんだら。俺に指図するなんざ100年あい。All right. I'm gonna cut. Cut again. Again. Until I get the exact sound that I want. Yep. So this particular sound, I need it for when Shanks dodges. It's important. Place it right over here. But this is muted, so unmute. Okay, I think I can just cut, move this downward. And as far as the drinking is concerned, I could just use the same drinking sound effect that I used for Whitebeard. There you go. That's it. Now over here, I think I'm gonna have to use, yeah, I think that I just get rid of that. I'm gonna have to use some hockey sound because obviously Shanks is angry. I have a bunch of sound effects in my library, and one of them is Conqueror's hockey sound. So let's go here, SFX. I have plenty of One Piece SFX. All right. I'm just gonna search One Piece. Come on. Okay. I don't understand. All right, let me search for Legacy. Yeah. There it is. Legacy Conquerors Hockey Sound. This is important. But I'm going to play it on a smaller volume and lower the volume. And actually, I think I should play it from here. As far as the sword pullout, I also should add a sound for that. sword, pull out. Increase the sound a bit. I'm going to remove that part. I think that this sword pullout is not really good. Let me try something else. Try some other sound. Let's try katana. First, I think I need the sound for when he puts his hand on the sword. I think I need to put it right over here. And I'll increase the volume. And then as far as the pulling out thing, come on, if only I could go to the file. All right, I'm thinking I'm going to exit Leonard downloads. Search this up myself. There it is. I don't know why I couldn't find it. There's the sheath and unsheath sound, it's called. I obviously want to use the sheathing, or the unsheathing, I'm sorry, where the sword is out. You pull the sword out. This one. I think that this one is much better than the other one I used. The other one has far more impact to it. Yep. And I also should use a sound for when the sword is ready. There it is. Okay, so I think that this is good. Let's listen to it again. It's good. I'm going to zoom out. I'm also going to add a sound for when Whitebeard just grabs his weapon. The moment of the clash, there's plenty of clash sounds out there. I'm going to use a very popular one. It's the sword clash. First, let me just search for it. Swords clashing, but there's another one. Yep, this is the one. So all this for this little sound. So this sound here is going to be good, but I'm going to have to follow up with some Conqueror's Hockey Clash-esque sound. I have one that I downloaded from the Roger and Whitebeard Clash. There it is. And I'm going to put it right over here. It should be great. Let's listen now. Well, I think I should just limit it to here. because I don't want that sound to be overwhelming. I'm also going to put it just a little close. Yep. And I also have a coding clash sound, which is also great. It's like some electric sound. I'm also going to increase the volume of it just so we can hear it. All right. I should not stop the conquerors. So I'm going to copy the conquerors and make sure I start it all over again. Probably should end right over here, but it should also be a sound among the sounds. And then as far as the sky splitting, I'm just going to put like some lightning sounds and storm. But first, let's continue. Let's continue. Now that's the moment he's chewing some meat. I think I can do a better job. I have some chewing meat sounds. Chewing. Actually, let's search meat instead. Eating juicy meat. That's a sound that you can find on Pixabay. And since Lucky Roo is a big eater, such a big eater, he's just chewing all the time. I think this sound is disgusting but necessary.
若神の野郎、親父に何を。待て待て、んなバカなことやる男じゃねえよい。だが、なんだこの話は決裂したようだ。見ろ、空を。いや、天が割れた。
All right. Ten comes from Tenryubito. That's why they call it Tenryubito, the celestial dragons. I think that now it's safe to go and just add some lightning sounds. Lightning in the sky, starting from here. All right, I'm also going to add another sound. It's the same one. Just going to re-add it again. But I'm going to intensify it by applying a technique, which is called the overlay. I think that the final part is to add 2 extra sound effects. But first, let me just add all the settings, all the options, CapCut options. And I'm going to zoom out here for a second. So I'm going to start it off by adding wind. The wind sound is particularly important here. And it's not the Arctic wind, because we're not in the Arctic. And of course, for the wind present across the entire video, and it should be a little, should just reduce the volume. And I'm going to copy paste it until, right, from here to the end. Should be easy. Always zoom in if you fail to precisely achieve a certain task. Then right here, I'm just going to paste. Try to be surgical. And then here, and then finally trim that last bit, fade it out. Now also gonna zoom out, and I need to add the sound of the waves or the sea sound effect. So if I search sea, there's C waves, and that's what I want. I want some C waves. So I'm going to go and look for C waves here, and I'm going to drag the C waves sound, but I'm going to make sure that the C waves are just a supportive sound, not a primary sound, by reducing the volume substantially, minus 14.3 decibels. And then over here, I'm going to delete everything that's on the right, and I'm going to fade it out. Perfect. And now for the final touches, moments before the clash, it's safe to go and apply a particular transition to kind of add a layer of perfection. I think that the pull in is pretty good. I hopefully will apply it there. That's it. And I'll also apply, I think, the blur, not the blur. Let's just apply this one, for instance. No, this one is big. I'm trying to apply ones that don't take so much time. And I think that it's okay right now because this is good. I'm going to go back right here to the beginning, select all the scenes together, move my cursor slightly so that I can see as I'm editing, and then here go to the adjustment option. I have the auto adjust, and I also have the color correction, but I'm going to lower the color correction down to about maybe something like this. We can already see some improvement. And then here I'm going to go to filters. And in terms of filters, I usually use for movies Hollywood filter. I don't use the Hollywood filter at 100%. So that's my secret, is about maybe 30 at most. You can type it in if you want precise, or to be precise. Now I also have another effect or filter that you can search for. It's called the 4K. There's no need to go for 8K, okay? It's just gonna make the video way too crisp. So you just go to use the 4K filter, and also the 4K filter must not be used at 100%. I mean, maybe just 50% or less. And then here we have the enhance option. I would also use it to enhance the quality, but I also do not use the enhanced filter at 100%, just around, just a bit. So everything, we use everything, but we don't overuse stuff. Now over here, I think it's safe to go and add some transitions, like the pull in transition here. I think that would be a safe pick. Pull out here. Yep, I think that's pretty cool. I'm gonna apply the pull in animation here between these, as well as here while he's drinking. And then here, I can apply this one, like a cool one. Pull in just about here, zoom out. And I think it's safe to go and watch my video here. But first, I'm going to select all the original sound, because there's the speech of the characters. And I'm just going to watch it on small screen here. I'm not going to go full screen. But check that everything is all right. Make sure it's 16 by 9. And it's okay to just go ahead and watch this right now and enjoy it.
ティーチのバカに教えてやるのが俺の責任だろうがよ。分かったか、ほんだら。俺に 指図するなんざ100年あい。誰にも止められなくなる。逃走するこの時代を恐れるに足らん。ほら。
It's lagging a bit. That's it. I think that it's it for this particular live action. Just have to go and export this project like so. Hopefully, it drives about 1 million views on YouTube or more. I'm gonna go 60 FPS because frames per second. That is because this this is a very this is one of those scenes or films that you need to make sure you do it at 60 frames because let's start this and give your file a name. So in this case, I'm just gonna say Shanks versus Whitebeard. That's it. That's it. Shanks versus Whitebeard. Probably add something like One Piece AI live action. It's not bad to mention that it's an AI live action, by the way. You might get bullied, but there's gonna be some people that do. But the most important thing is that